Welcome, beloveds. Happy Sunday. So happy to have you here with us live. And for those of you joining us in the eternal now, we're so glad you're here with us. So we'll begin by lighting our candle. If you have a candle, go ahead and um, give it a light. As we light our candles, we officially open the field. We officially come into the soul field. And by the soul field, we very quite literally mean the field of energy in which soul is central, in which soul is the sort of vibrating force, and just loving seeing you all pop in. Welcome. And when we come into the field, we are really acknowledging that we're coming into sacred and transformational space, and that each one of us is, by our nature, a beacon of light. And so sometimes, just by being that, we attract energy that is actually needed to be lifted up, to be given back to the source. And so we'll take a moment and we'll bring our awareness to that portal about a foot above the top of our head, the sacred portal that we can open with the simplicity of our intention that leads to the golden stream of light that leads to the temple of divine perfection, which is quite literally the etheric energy recycling center in our universe. And so we'll just allow whatever is complete in us, whatever didn't belong to us in the first place, almost like you're being smudged. We're just letting that, and you'll feel it lift off. This is a moment to just let it go. And as you do, you can feel yourself coming more fully here and having more access to your own body, your own breath. And we'll just take a moment to feel that, to feel the body and the breath. To feel that your body was designed to come into resonance with our earth. This is part of the divine design of these biospiritual systems. And so, with the simplicity of intention, you can bring your presence to your connection with the earth and amplify that harmonization. And you can bring your intention and your presence to your sacred connection, to the source of all life, to the very source of the life on this planet and the biospiritual systems that we are blessed to have. And amplifying your resonance there, your unique pathway to the sacred. And as you amplify that, we'll begin with our opening prayer today, just in English. We come with grateful, reverent, and open hearts to drink from the deep well of our eternal nature. As we dive into the soul field together, we are held within a sacred and holy embrace by the source of all love, light, and grace. In this eternal now, we actively invoke our unique pathways to source and the beings of love light that support our divine evolving. We allow our mind, body, spirit to expand into the holy realms where magic and miracles are commonplace. As we minister to ourselves, we minister to one another and our family humanity. We recognize we are one in the holy wholeness. We allow all we do here today to ripple out through our lives as a living witness of divine grace for the benefit of all our relations. Hmm. And as we come in, I want to invite you today. We're working second of this series on sacred trust. We're working with the energy of lighting up the eternal now. And in this session today, as the transmission comes across, and as we do the meditation and the transformational work that we'll do together, I want to invite you first to kind of bring into the field with you some place in your life where you're having a challenge, with sacred trust. Maybe not there's zero trust, but maybe not your whole biospiritual system feels the ease and grace of I know all is well. Like some place where you're feeling a little agitation or maybe a lot, but pick some place where you know you would like to step into greater trust, where you would like to bring yourself into the field of grace and really be in the experience that this area of my life is held and I can feel sacred trust. So just take a moment. And if you'd like to, so that we can, hold that intention together, you can certainly just type in the chat thread this area of life that you're bringing into the field, this place that you're wanting to invite yourself into more sacred trust. Yes. Mhm. Amplifying divine union with my partner. Beautiful. Mhm. And so, as we're bringing that in, we will begin with our affirmations. And with our affirmations, we'll either do our ear rub or our thymus thump or both. You can sort of switch back and forth, a way to embody the words that we're saying in the affirmation and really let yourself feel it. We have Sacred Temple Tender Tita with us today, and after I say, she'll lead you in the response. I am a divine creation.
I am a divine creation.
I love who I am and revere my unique path.
I love who I am and I revere my unique path.
I joyfully experience the divine embrace always, in all ways.
I joyfully experience the divine embrace always and always.
I deepen into sacred trust every day,
I deepen into sacred trust every day.
remembering all things are divinely imbued. I actively amplify their grace.
Remembering all things are divinely imbued, I actively amplify their grace.
I am a divine creation.
I am a divine creation.
I love who I am and revere my unique path.
I love who I am and revere my unique path.
I joyfully experience the divine embrace always, in all ways.
I joyfully experience the divine embrace always and always.
I deepen into sacred trust every day,
I deepen into sacred trust every day.
remembering all things are divinely imbued. I actively amplify their grace.
Remembering all things are divinely imbued, I actively amplify their grace.
I am a divine creation.
I am a divine creation.
I love who I am and revere my unique path.
I love who I am and revere my unique path.
I joyfully experience the divine embrace always, in all ways.
I joyfully experience the divine embrace always and all ways.
I deepen into sacred trust every day,
I deepen into sacred trust every day.
remembering all things are divinely imbued. I actively amplify their grace.
Remembering all things are divinely imbued, I actively amplify their grace.
Yeah. Oh, I hope you're feeling that shift already, that your system is coming into more resonance with that sacred trust. And today we're going to talk about the reality that sacred trust is found in the now moment. Sacred trust requires us coming into the now. And when we do that, when we're able to come into the present moment, just that in and of itself engenders trust. And here's why. We talked a little bit about this last time. Sacred trust actually lives within us. It is a gift of soul. And when we come into the present moment, we come into the capacity to be in communion with our eternal nature, with the soul self. And so in the now moment, we can feel the sacred. So we can take one single breath. And in that one single breath, we can find the yes to that moment, the okayness of that moment. And so we often live life, the places where we are finding ourselves not in sacred trust. We live life resisting the now moment. We don't want to be with whatever's here right now. Something shows up in our life, something we don't know how to handle, something we don't know if we can maneuver with ease or with beauty. And what we do is we end up future tripping on how that's going to go or not go, or how we're going to do or not do. And really, what we're resisting is the experience of life and death and flow that exists in a given moment. In a given moment, when something doesn't show up our way, we're in pain in some way, emotional pain, physical pain, spiritual pain, mental pain, anguish. We don't like that. And usually in that moment, something is dying. The way that we wanted it to be, the vision of that moment is needing to fall away so that we can be with what is. And what happens when we resist that is that our fear starts to amplify. And and then the anxiety around not knowing how, or not knowing when, or not knowing if starts to get louder and louder. And we start feeling I can't do it and I want out, and we don't know how to get out. We start to feel stuck, right? So this is part of what happens in the resistance of the now moment. And what happens on a very real level is that amplifies our pain body. And we end up in this cycle, then the amplifying of our pain body, whether that's emotional, physical, mental, spiritual pain, or all of the above, it sort of creates an anxiety that then amplifies the pain body, that then creates we end up in this loop. And it takes us out of the now and just is spiraling us into pain. So any techniques that we can utilize, even though it sounds so simple, that bring us into the moment, that bring us into contact with the body, that allow us to focus on just one breath, and then just one more, and then just one more. It brings us right here. And right here, we can contact soul. Our presence opens us into the eternal. Otherwise, we are very connected with our temporal self. And that's why we get fast forwarding in time or worrying about what was. We usually put those together. We usually are like, well, it was like that yesterday, and I'm afraid it's going to be like that every day from now. And we start to like spin ourselves in the temporal world. In the now moment, we are connected to eternal. It's where we actually have access to source, which is why prayer, meditation, singing praises, these things that bring us right here, right now, they engender, even if just for a moment, the connection to our eternal self. And then that, if we feel it, even just a whisper of it, we can with intention grab it and then come into greater communion. And so all of us right now, as I'm speaking these words, are already doing this. We're coming more into this moment. We're with intention grabbing onto the soul self, the eternal self. And it's bringing us into greater communion. And that starts to create a settling in the nervous system. Can you feel it? Can you notice a settling in your nervous system? Give me like a nod or a thumbs up or whatever, right? Even just speaking these words and the intention to be with each other here in this now starts to bring in the sacred soothing. And then that allows us to have a bit of patience for the unfolding, right? So part of that cycle when we're not in the now moment that gets us referencing the past and fearing the future is that we get really anxious, like it has to get fixed now. And the sacredness unfolds in the now, but it unfolds in the now moment to moment. Because when we're really entering into sacred trust, we're actually lighting up the now moment with the brilliance of our soul. Then we're giving soul permission to find the SOUL solution. So we're not in an energy of replicating, we're not in an energy of figuring. We're in an energy of receptivity that's illuminating the now moment with the pain we're bringing, with the place that's needing more trust. And then there's this flow of grace. And so if any of you have ever had on a very kind of physical level, I'm thinking right now for myself of a time when I had a surgery and I was in a very great deal of pain. And thank goodness my sister was with me and she's like, just look at me, right? So she brought me into the moment, just look at me. Let's take a breath and let's breathe out. And then she counted and she had me breathe into the count of 4, breathe out to the count of 4. We did that like 3 times and literally I wasn't in pain anymore. And I was in the kind of pain that like I thought, give me all the narcotics because I'm not okay. Right. And what happened was there was sensation and there was pain in the sensation, but my fear about it had spiraled it into something way bigger than it was. And when I came into the now moment and I could really breathe, I had the capacity to be with what was there. Right? It wasn't like, I mean, I said I had no pain. What I really want to say, I had no angst around the pain. And therefore it was manageable, like super manageable. And I was able to lay down and just rest and breathe. Right? Sometimes we need others to bring us into the now moment. Sometimes we don't have access to it on our own when things are really intense. And so that's the beauty of coming together, is that we can together, wherever there are 2 or more, amplify the eternal, amplify the sacred now moment. When we do that, when we come into the now and we actively invoke source, then we change the field dynamics of whatever's happening. We start to, by the nature of that presence, we start to create a field of energy that supports a sacred unfolding. And so there's this little acronym that some of you may know. I especially work with this with couples because I think sometimes in coupleship, we can sort of start down this road and we are so not in the now moment in the conversation that we're having with one another. But it's great for all of us. And the acronym is NBCC, which is notice. Notice you're not in the now. B, breathe, take a breath. Connect with your body, connect with your heart, and connect. The final C is connect with the highest source of love you can access. So we're coming into the now and we're literally lighting it up by the light of our soul and by the light of the eternal that we are connected with. So NBCC. So I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to pause the recording. For those of you who are here and you'd like to, let's just have a little chat. Let's talk about, and if you're watching this via recording, just notice what's arising for you. Where does this suggestion that I'm making feel easy? What's happening with the thing that you brought into the session where you were hoping for more sacred trust? How does that feel right now? Does it feel the same? Does it feel different? So we're coming back, and some of what was shared, I just bring in. Some people were feeling like a lot of experience, like sensation of the now moment. Um, and some people maybe not necessarily feeling the visceral, but just a sense of openness. And noticing in the chat that there's like like sometimes there becomes the wondering, like, is there is there going to be guidance, right? And this is part of where we just, the more we come into the now, the more we come into that sacred moment, the more we let our mind relax, as someone said in the chat, we start to be able to access the higher mind. And the higher mind is different than the thinking mind. The higher mind is like a receiver, and it can start to receive the grace and the guidance that's there in the soul field, that is part of our soul light and the connection that we have to all, to the place that some people call the akasha, where sort of like all can be known, right? And it gives us, thank you, yes, someone saying in there, a clearer path to connection, right? That now moment clears the path for us to feel the connection. And so we're going to do some work together with breath today to really amplify the now. And I'm going to speak about that a little bit, but I want to remind you, those of you who are here live and maybe weren't last week, and those of you who are joining us in the eternal now and did not receive the recording from the first session of this series. I want to encourage you to do that. In that session, we invoked a sacred geometric light emanation, which is a spiritual technology that communes with your biospiritual system. We invoked this sacred geometric light emanation to really restore the sacred blueprint in your biospiritual system connected to trust. So we talked a little bit about how we live in a context right now on this planet where sacred trust is not the loudest thing in the room. In fact, it's often the most quiet thing in the room. And that we innately have within us the capacity to live in sacred trust. And so this sacred geometric light emanation is really about helping restore that. So I want to encourage you, please, if you haven't received that, to receive that. And today we're going to work with a breath pattern that is about bringing the divine breath of life, bringing like fresh new prana, bringing grace into the energy centers, into the chakras. And we're going to do this in a systematic way. And so the chakras, we can think of them as these places of energy in the body, where the body pulls in energy from the universal field and where it releases energy from our own personal biospiritual system. But they are also these vibrational resonant fields that in some ways dictate how we create at that particular level. So like at the level of heart or the level of the throat or the level of the third eye. And each of the platforms have sort of a different aspect of life that they're sort of maybe the ruler of, although ideally all centers are working in harmony with one another. And each center brings vital life force to certain parts of the body. For example, the throat to the mouth, the gums, the teeth, the glands, the thyroid, like this, right? The esophagus and the trachea. They energize the particular area of the body. And so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be coming into the breath, coming into the now moment of each breath, coming into presence with each of the platforms of creation, beginning with the root, which is at the pelvic floor. And we're going to literally, with the simplicity of breath, we're going to sort of intentionally draw the divine breath of life into that energy center. And then we're going to pause the breath just for a moment. And then we're going to breathe out and we're going to release whatever is complete, whatever we no longer need to hold on to, whatever strain, stress, tension. and maybe just things that are old. And we're going to kind of bring in, we're going to refresh. It's sort of like going to the pillows on the couch and like fluffing them up and shaking off the I have dogs, maybe you don't, dog hair or cat hair, or just dust, right? And just like fluffing them up so that now, okay, that's fresh, it's ready, it's more alive. And we're going to do that for our energy centers. And so when we get to the root, we're going to be kind of like pulling from the bottom into the root. When we get to the chakras that run along the body, starting beneath the belly button, then above, then at the heart and the throat and the third eye, we're going to, if you're like seeing me from the side, we're going to draw from both directions. So we're going to intentionally pull that divine breath of life from the front and back. And then we're going to breathe out in both directions. So we're sort of drawing in like this and releasing from the back aspect and the front aspect of those energy centers that have two aspects to them. And what we're understanding as we do this is that, like I said, we're coming into now with the breath, and then with the intention, we're lighting up the now with the sacred by understanding that we're not just taking a breath, we're pulling the divine breath of life. We're pulling grace into us. We're saying, come on, bring the grace in, right? And so we are literally lighting up the biospiritual system as we do this. And so without further ado, I'm going to invite you to find a place where the body can rest, where you can feel an elongation through the spine, but you don't need to hold a rigid posture, just that you can feel the energy centers. You're not sort of squunched over so that they're kind of stacked on top of each other, but you're lifted so that there's room and space for energy to move through the body. And we're going to begin to just take a little inventory. So just notice the body right now. Notice how it feels. Notice where there's particular places of aliveness. Notice if there are any places that feel hard to connect with or that are holding difficulty or pain. Notice the quality of the vibration of your energy itself. Does it feel smooth? Does it feel bouncy? Does it feel gentle or edgy? Just notice the quality. Noticing the thought field. How is the mind? What's the quality of mind? Notice the emotional body. Do you feel emotional energy? What's the quality of it? Notice that coming into presence with these parts of you in and of itself is nourishing. And begin to call all of you here, all of yourself into this moment. And begin to recognize that there is a sacred breath, the one breath of life. And it's sort of pulsing and vibrating. And you can sense it. And on the next breath you receive in, allow yourself to really receive that sacred breath, the prana, the divine breath of life. And as you breathe out, feel that the out breath is an offering, a letting go. And you can trust that one breath. It's like the ocean. You can receive it in, and you can trust that there'll be a moment when it's time to give it back, to release. That this divine breath of life rises and falls like waves in the ocean. It flows to you. It's there for you. It's yours to receive. And when it's complete, it flows out of you, yours to release. And for a moment, bring your awareness to the beat of your heart. Notice it there beating. And notice that it is, as you bring awareness to it, rhythmically calibrating to the flow of life and the flow of the divine breath of life that you're communing with. Throughout your whole being, this heartbeat. And you can trust it. And as you take a nice cleansing breath, you can register that you can trust the original impulse that brought you here into this dimension in the first place. That original impulse and you hold a sacred blueprint that's unfolding in perfection with each breath, with each heartbeat. And you bring your attention to the root chakra, to the pelvic floor. And with the simplicity of intention, on the next breath you receive, you draw divine breath of life into the root center. Pause for a moment, letting that breath wash through the root and then releasing out of the root center. Tension, fear, unnecessary holding. Drawing in again the divine breath of life into the root. Pausing. And then gently releasing what is complete, what is old and not serving in the root. One more time into the root, drawing the divine breath of life in. Letting it nourish and cleanse the root center and releasing all that is complete. Bringing awareness to the front and back of the sacral center and drawing the divine breath of life into the sacral center, just beneath the belly button. Breathing out in both directions, front and back. Releasing tension. Drawing the prana, the divine breath of life, into the sacral center. Pausing, feeling the goodness of that. Letting it dislodge anything that's not serving and simply releasing that in both directions, front and back, as you breathe out. Again, drawing the fresh, new grace into the sacral center. Breathing out and releasing, finding the sparkle there now. Into the solar plexus just above the belly button, from the front and back, drawing the divine breath of life in with the breath. Pausing and then breathing out in both directions, front and back. Releasing from the solar plexus tension, unnecessary holding. Drawing in the divine breath of life, the grace, the answer to your prayers. Feeling it meld in the solar plexus and breathing out in both directions, front and back. Letting the solar plexus relax in the refreshment. Drawing in one more time to the solar plexus, the divine breath of life. Feeling it merge with your light body and breathing out anything that doesn't serve your highest unfolding. Awareness to the heart, drawing the divine breath of life into the front and back of the heart center, feeling the goodness as you pause and receive that divine breath of life, and breathing out, releasing all that is complete, all the worry of the heart. Drawing in the divine breath of life, let this heart be changed by the light that I'm bringing to it. Breathing out, releasing grief and heaviness, anxiety. Into the heart one more time, drawing that divine breath of life. Feeling it be nourished and gently releasing anything that doesn't feed your greatest potential. Into the throat now, drawing in the divine breath of life from the front and back. Feel it waking up the throat, dislodging anything that's not yours to hang on to, and just simply breathe out and release it. Drawing into the front and back of the throat, all that beauty, all that grace. Feeling it refresh the throat and release in both directions from the front and back of the throat what you are complete with. One more time, drawing in from the front and back of the throat the divine breath of life that nourishes your wholeness, and breathing out fragmentation. From the front and back of the third eye, drawing in the divine breath of life, feeling that grace wash over and through your mind. Breathing out, releasing the unhealthy, unserving thoughts. Drawing the divine breath of life into the mind, into the front and back of the third eye, feeling it dislodge rigidity. Breathing out, releasing the busy mind, opening into the spaciousness of grace. From the front and back of the third eye, drawing in the divine breath of life. Pausing, feeling the nourishment, the awakening of higher consciousness, and breathing out anything that would interfere with new light, new life. From the crown now, drawing in the divine breath of life. Bringing that into the top of the head, feeling a cleansing there, breathing out any spiritual disillusionment, letting it go now. Drawing into the crown the divine breath of life, feeling it activate this sacred temple. Breathing out whatever is now complete, whatever no longer serves. Breathing into the crown center one more time, that grace, the prana, the divine breath of life, feeling it be illuminated. Breathing out any darkness that you're still carrying. From every direction, from every center now, breathing into the very center of your being, the divine breath of life, illuminating the central channel that runs from crown to root, and breathing out in every direction from every energy center, whatever is no longer you. Drawing in the divine breath of life, activating the fullness of your light body, bringing it into the center of your being, pausing and feeling it light up your soul, breathing out, letting your light flow, drawing in the divine breath of life one more time from every direction into every portal in this body temple, feeling the central channel illuminated, and then releasing yourself into a sacred rest. And while you're in this sacred rest, we'll play our song for this series. If you'd like, the words will be on the screen.
Warm water falling from the sky, warm wet water making rainbows in our eyes. In this skin I'm home, movement does surprise. Isn't it good to know that it's alright? Free will, moving hard. Free will, fall apart and die. Animal and peasant, we let out wild cry. Oh, ain't it good to know that it's alright? Oh, ecstasy and anger, praise, grief, joy, fear, all are welcome in this earth. Cast a hold our being here. This is our dance, it's prayer in action. These are the words I need not say. Inner compass, inner map, here to guide me on my way. And I know it's alright. Everything is alright. All of it is alright. Every bit is alright. Oh, ain't it good to know that it's alright? Body is my paintbrush in this human land. Give it up, let fly, bringing blessed trance, counting feet and heartbeat, feathery winged hair. Ain't it good to know that it's alright. I can hear them speaking the language my blood speaks, the rhythm in me calling to our family. We enliven them by dancing on our prayers they feed. Oh, ain't it good to know that it's alright? Everything is alright. All of it is alright. Every bit is alright. Oh, ain't it good to know that it's alright? Oh, ain't it good to know that it's alright?
Mm. So as you're bubbling to the surface, I want to invite you to take a minute and just notice, take a moment to notice that same inventory. How does the body feel? What's the quality of the energy? What's the nature of the mind right now? How about the emotional body? What's happening there? And then take a moment and bring back into awareness, if it's not already here with you, the place of life that was wanting more sacred trust, and just feel yourself holding that with you where you are right now. See what you notice. I'm going to pause the recording so those of us here live can share with each other, and invite you, if you're watching this or you're recording, to just take a moment and jot down a little bit of awareness for yourself. I was sharing with those who are here live that what I'm really noticing in my body is that there's this warming, this warm, settled energy in my belly, and that's so loud. It sort of is louder than the place where there was fear or anxiety, the place where there was less sacred trust. Like when I bring that area in, it's sort of like this energy predominates. And so I feel much more connected. Somebody said they felt incorporated, like they were. I feel that as well, and I'm hoping that you do too. We are going to have our announcements, and then we will close our circle.
As always, we are so grateful that you have chosen to spend a bit of your precious life to be in sacred presence with us in the soul field. If you'd like more information, transformational support, links to our YouTube video collections, to have Soulfield events to populate on your calendar, or to share Soulfield with like-minded beings, you can go to soulfield.org. soulfield.org. We deeply appreciate your donations and tithing. Without your generosity, Soulfield would simply not be possible. Deep bows to those of you who continue to make Soulfield a regular part of your spiritual gift giving. We are thrilled to have many of you joining us in the Eternal Now via recording. Please remember to like and comment on our videos and follow our YouTube channel. Thank you in advance for helping others find us. Our next live meditation is Wednesday, October 1st at 5:10 p.m., and our next Soul Field experience is Sunday, October 12th at 11 a.m., both Pacific time, via Zoom. For those of you joining us live, links are in the chat thread.
And so with that, we will speak our closing prayer and we will officially close the soul field for today. We are deeply grateful to have experienced miraculous communion with our holy wholeness in the soul field. We wholeheartedly receive the upliftment of one another's communion and blessed soul light. As we close this formal gathering, we each in our own way will continue dwelling in the soul field and supporting our collective evolution. With deep gratitude, we thank one another and all our angels, guides, and guardians. Remembering as we minister to ourselves, we uplift one another. We encourage the magic we co-created to ripple out to all our relations for the benefit of all beings. And so, beloveds, you'll have this recording. You can come to this meditation practice, this chakra breath practice, anytime you're having a hard time finding yourself in the now, finding yourself in sacred trust. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks for the next evolution of the Sacred Trust series. And hopefully I'll see you on Wednesday for meditation. Just so grateful for each and every one of you. So grateful for the opportunity to be together. And we're just, we are upheld here. And I am upholding each of you on your journey. Thanks for being with us.